So, we're all thinking the same thing, right? Our little fox friend is a menace. No, not him. Yeah, him. Little bro just committed a war crime and casually walked it off like he didn't almost murder a bunch of innocent people. Yeah, let's talk about this. But first, I'm gonna need y'all to hit the like button and comment down below for the algorithm. Let YouTube know you actually like these videos so it shows them to you in your feed. Anyway, without further ado, let's look at issue 78, the follow-up to the destruction of Restoration HQ. Brought to you by these fine Wolfpack patrons. This one starts a few days after the destruction of Restoration, with Tails, Amy, and Blaze making their way towards Barricade Town. Now, eagle-eared viewers may remember and recognize that name, because that was the name of one of the towns from the Metal Virus arc. This one in particular is where one of the biggest events took place during that story, that some may have a hard time forgiving, but we'll get there. By the way, you're probably wondering why they're driving rather than flying in the tornado like they were at the end of issue 76. Well, the writers thought about that, and you'll be happy to know they know their stuff. In a rather hilarious reveal, it turns out that both Amy and Tails thought that Blaze was doing okay riding on top of the tornado like Sonic normally does. Mainly because of how composed she looked from behind.
What?
Look at her, she was even hitting the same pose Sonic normally does too. Meanwhile, a different angle shows a different story as Blaze is practically having a panic attack on top of that wing. I was dying looking at this panel. That face she's making was just sending me. Girl is literally screaming on the inside while trying to play it so cool. Blaze, it's okay to be afraid of heights. Once our trio arrives in Barricade Town, they're surprised to find everything seems to be okay. No signs of trouble or imminent danger on the horizon. Though Blaze, being the thorough cat she is, decides to investigate further just to be sure. That's when Amy and Tails mention that she's probably still feeling guilty about not being able to help during the previous story. Something we've seen her do many times before. One of Blaze's biggest vices is that she tends to shoulder the burden of the world. Like, she makes life so much harder for herself by taking on responsibility for everyone and never giving herself any slack. This is something she spoke about with another certain responsible guardian a while back. See my video on the Sonic Annual for more on that. After a quick check-in with the town's restoration office, they're shocked to find out that not only is the town doing fine, but they're actually so well off, they can actually send some of their own forces to help with Restoration HQ, back at Emeraldville. Which just goes to show how far all of their efforts have taken them since forming the Restoration. This trend continues as they head to Glass Hill, where they find a house on fire. But much like last time, their forces already have everything under control. That's when we see a familiar face. Hello. Remember this guy? Well, for the two of you that do remember this guy, congrats! For the rest of y'all, this little monkey guy here is single-handedly responsible for shit hitting the fan all the way back in issue 22 during the Metal Virus arc. You guys remember that villager that was all wrapped up in a blanket and brought himself into HQ despite being infected, turning into a zombot and infecting many people in the process? Yep, that's him! So as you can see, he's turned himself around and is now volunteering with the Disaster Relief Force, possibly to make amends of causing such a huge disaster back during that arc. Though if I had to wager, I'm guessing there's gonna be a vocal few that feel this guy is irredeemable and that he should join Lanolin in the hottest fires of Iblis. But I don't know. I personally feel he's doing the right thing here. It doesn't undo the mistake he made, but this is a very good way for him to pay back the damage he caused. And look! Amy even forgives him, so if she can do it, why can't we? It just came to my attention while I was writing the script for this one that a user on Reddit, Watchdog the God, pointed out, this monkey may be the same one we saw in the Mimic flashbacks in his special. I did a whole video review on that one, check it out if you haven't already. Which in turn makes this monkey's actions in the Metal Virus arc make much more sense. The last thing he says before he turns is, I just didn't want to be alone. Which shows what Mimic's abandonment and betrayal had done to him mentally. He might have been the only survivor from that group, so it makes sense he wouldn't want to be alone when he thinks he might be potentially dying. So once again, even more damage and mental trauma can be linked back to this scumbag Calamari. God damn! Next we're gonna find out that Mimic was responsible for what happened to Kit and Surge or something. It wouldn't surprise me if every single bad thing that happened in these stories can be directly linked back to him somehow. Watch. In the Sonic X DC crossover, we're gonna find out Mimic was the one that shot Batman's parents. While on the way to their final stop, Blaze congratulates Amy and Tails on the success of the restoration, telling them that it's because of their efforts that all of the separate restoration divisions are still operating fine despite the main HQ's fall. Which she's actually right about. I'm glad to see that everything is running smoothly in different spots too, because if everything was still messed up after this long, I'd be wondering if the civilians in this world could even operate without Sonic and his friends babysitting them. And the last thing we need is Mobius being like other medias where nothing can happen when the main characters aren't around, because that stuff drives me crazy in other stories. Goku syndrome avoided. And now on to their final destination, Turtleshell Island, which appears to be a peaceful port town where there is absolutely no danger or threats whatsoever. So yeah, Kit and Surge are here, and now the comic just got super interesting. The two appear to be just chillin' and not causing any real trouble. Well, one of them is anyway. Jesus, Kit, do you ever smile? Amy checks in with Surge, asking her how their heroic tour is going. But much like them, Surge is irritated everything is so peaceful. Can't do any heroics if there's no danger to save them from, right? Totally not foreshadowing anything there. And Tails tries to check in with Kit. Keyword being tries. Oh my god, he is having none of anything Tails is saying to him. I love that Kit is the smallest and quietest one present, and yet he somehow feels the most dangerous. Or is at least giving off the most hostile vibes. Guessing that grudge is never going away until he puts Tails 6 feet under. Surge tells them that nothing is happening and to go home. But Kid is like, I don't know, something could happen. Who knows? Things are crazy lately. That's when we hard cut into a ticking time bomb just outside of the town on one of the giant buoys anchoring the city. Yeah, you heard me right. A bomb. Kit literally set up a disaster just so Surge could have something to do. And just look at him. Not a single bit of empathy behind those eyes. He's just so proud of himself that he's doing what he believes to be his mission in life, giving Surge a purpose for hers. It'd be kind of wholesome if he wasn't so detached. Guys, I'm thinking Kid is becoming far more unhinged and dangerous than Surge is. He's slowly shaping up to be a future villain for them if he keeps going down this path. At the very least, he's definitely gonna clash with Surge when she finds out what he's been doing. But that's neither here nor there. Tails informs everyone that the town has lost one of its 6 anchors and that the city will start to sink soon. And that's when Surge is like,
gotta juice it, cut it loose.
Our newly reformed would-be hero decides to immediately jump into action, thinking the best course is to take another anchor out to properly balance the city. You can imagine how wrong she is. Blaze takes off after her but is unable to catch the Tenric before she takes out yet another anchor, causing the city to sink even quicker. Meanwhile, Blaze is like,
You stupid idiot!
Surge, realizing she's made a huge mistake, shifts blame and they all reconvene to form a better plan, while the town works on evacuating. Amy manages to talk Surge into helping evacuate people with her, telling her that her speed will be helpful to their efforts, despite Surge not wanting to because it's not cool or flashy. Tails comes up with a quick plan, telling Blaze of her firepower she might be able to use them to cause a thermal vent to keep the town afloat long enough for them to fix the anchors. And guess who is needed for that plan? Our devious little schemer, Kit. And this might be my favorite part of the issue right here. Tails tells Kit that Blaze will need his help, and the first thing Kit does is mouth off to him, which causes Tails to shut him down immediately. Tails is like, bitch, I cannot fix this. Does it look like I can swim 300 meters underwater? You're the only one who can do this, so shut up talking to me and get in there. Look at Kit's face here. He was not expecting Tails to challenge him directly like that. Little bro defaults back to his programming, talking about he can't do anything in the fear that he'll upstage Surge. And she's like, we're a tag team. If you win, I win. Just do it. And with that, they're all off. Interesting that even now, Kid is having a hard time acting without express consent from Surge. Starline's plan may just come to backfire on Kid and his over-reliance on Surge very soon. I will say it is kind of cool to see Surge actually trying to do heroic stuff in this issue. You can't say she's not trying. And you know something else? This panel right here goes pretty hard. These two are posing like they're trying to be on the poster for the new Avengers movie. Kit warns that they have limited air and that the water pressure is increasing, so she'd better hurry up. With the encouragement and memories of her friends that helped her understand her fiery gifts, Blaze begins to boil the earth beneath them. Wait, hold on a minute. Where's Silver in this picture? How are y'all gonna have all of the crew there, but not Silver? Don't worry, Silver fans, I got y'all. I'll make sure you're seen and represented. There we go. Once everything is said and done, Tails' plan works and the day is saved. With Surge feeling like it didn't really matter since no one saw it. To which Kit reassures her that there will be more chances in the future. Yeah, okay, Kit needs to be stopped. He's about to tear shit up just to give Surge something to do. Not gonna lie, I love their new dynamic. Surge is genuinely trying to do better, albeit in her own rash f***ed up way, but the important thing is that she is trying, while Kit is secretly playing the villain role to make sure she has stuff to fix and save. This might be one of the most toxic relationships in the Sonicverse right now. Like, Kit and Surge's relationship is just unhealthy. One can barely function without the other, and one of them is ready to scorch the earth to make sure the other is happy. This won't end well. Finally, we head down to the Rainbow Ravine, where we see Whisper enjoying herself at a cafe, while someone appears to be watching her. That someone is none other than Mimic, and look at this man. He's talking mad shit the entire time, telling her she's gone soft after all that time at the Resistance, not even thinking that she might be the one luring him out. And hold up, Whisper versus Mimic for the last time. When's this next comic out? Looks like we're gonna have our final conflict between these two coming up. What will happen to Mimic, or Whisper? Do y'all think he's getting got or taken in and arrested for all of his crimes? Not gonna lie, I'm kinda hoping Whisper takes him out. She seemed pretty adamant on doing so, but we'll see. I give this comic an 8.7 out of 10. If you want to help me, Wolfie, out, and get YouTube to show you more of these, you know what you gotta do. The story continues in issue 79, so click this video to see what happens next. Last video's best comment.